Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another one of my episodes of interviews with subject matter experts, people that we want to talk to that know about topics that you care about. And today I have with me a very special guest. Her name is Jamie Dickinson. She is the CEO of IEC Advisors. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you very much, Cindy. I'm so happy to be your guest today.
So let's talk about who you are and what you do. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became an IEC, because I know your background is a little unique in this regard. So share that with us.
Yes, well, my high school guidance counselor, I grew up in Logan, West Virginia, which is like way down in the bottom of southern West Virginia. And my high school guidance counselor in my 15 minutes with her said, Jamie, you're good in math, be an accountant, you always have a job. So I was like, okay, that's what I did. So I went to Marshall University, majored in accounting, have a minor in marketing, and then I got my MBA with an emphasis in finance. And so for 20 years, I did the accounting world, and I just hated it. And I'd sit in church and pray, Lord, I need a rich man to marry me so I can just work out and lay out in the sun, do all these things that I love. But of course, that never happened. But I did have the idea 20 years ago to open up a college planning business. And to be honest with you, in the first 3 years I was in business, I didn't know that another educational consultant existed. And so I just went off on a wing and a prayer and started helping people fill out financial aid forms. So I came to it from a financial aid standpoint because West Virginia, which is where I live, had just started the Promise Scholarship, and filling out the FAFSA form, which is the free application for federal student aid, was a requirement of that. So I was like, nobody knows how to fill this form out, but I do. And so it kind of started from financial aid for me. And then I realized I had to add the kid component in, which then I love the kids. So that's how I started doing it 20 years ago. And I just went off and started doing it, and I'm still doing it. So that's how I got started. It was just a fluke. It wasn't like I was a guidance counselor. It wasn't like I helped my kid do it and love it. I mean, it was a God thing, I'll just be honest with you. So, and thank goodness, because it's so much more fun than being an accountant. Trust me.
Oh yeah, I can well imagine. Well, that's interesting. I've never heard your backstory before, and I started out doing financial aid forms too, so I did not know that we had that in common. So now you've been doing this for 20 years, and you've expanded. I remember you've added tutoring to your college planning business. You've opened another business. So what advice do you have as you've gone through these years to give to people who are just starting out? What should they know about setting prices for their services?
Well, that's one reason I created these business boot camps, because what would happen is, and of course, I know business. I had to teach myself the college planning side, but I know the business side. Well, I feel like most educational consultants come to this from knowing the college planning side and are lost on the business side. So I started IEC Advisors in 2014, I think. Because what would happen is when I would go to conferences or go on tour, people would want to saddle up beside me and ask me questions. And the number one question everybody would ask is like, what do you charge? Now, I post my prices on my website. And part of that was I felt like it was just really crazy for everybody to ask each other what they're charging, because I can't charge in West Virginia what somebody can charge in Manhattan. So what difference did it make what they were charging? You've got to know your own market. So part of what I do in these business boot camps is we do one whole day on sales and pricing, like how to set your prices. And so I have some tips like how to set your prices. Like, to be honest with you, I would figure out what people are paying for a divorce in your immediate neighborhood. I mean, that's just a great way for me to figure it out, because in my area, people were paying $33,000 to $3,500 basic for a divorce. So I thought, okay, we're talking about your kids, we're talking about your money, you're talking about your assets. I feel I'm a professional, so that's about where I should be. And I've made many, many, many mistakes along the way. I started out just doing a one-time retainer, which wreaks havoc on a cash flow. So I have since switched to a monthly membership auto pay, which really helps out, even out cash flow. And then another tip that I have is always use tiered pricing. I use a 4-tier, but I would always recommend like a 3-tier where you have a less expensive package, like for budget conscious people, and then a high-end package for those people that need to feel special. And then, you're trying to drive people to the middle price.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one you really want to sell. So, coming up with a tiered pricing, that's another tip. That's another section that we do in the boot camp. But, how to price your services is whatever the market will bear. And do I think I'm worth a $10,000 a year retainer? Yes. Do I think I'll ever find anybody in West Virginia pay that? No. So I can have like 50% of something or 100% of nothing. So I just feel like educational consultants need personal, individualized advice on how to price their services instead of trying to go to a conference and ask a group of people, like, what do you charge? It's too personalized. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I find the same thing. We have another consultant that we'd asked this question to, and she said she goes to finds out what the hairdressers charge. And if the hairdressers are charging so much per hour, they're worth that. The educational counseling is worth that, and then some. For the same reason you said, we're professionals, but you do have to be adjust to your market and look at what's available and what works for people, because sometimes people have, and I have the same thing in my market, I don't have an affluent group of families that are paying for my services. They can pay per month basis. They'll pay $100 maybe at Starbucks or something. So they'll pay that for college counseling, but they're not going to be able to pay the full fee up front. And I've found the same thing by doing the auto month, that it helps with cash flow. I know exactly how much is coming in, what day, and everything. So I think that's very wise advice. Now, what about initial consultation? There's always discussion about, should you have a free initial consultation or charge for it? What are your thoughts on that?
When I first started, I did a free seminar in my office once a month. So people could register for the free seminar and could come, and I would spend 45 minutes discussing it, telling them, all about my fees. And then the last 15 minutes of it was my sales pitch, like what I wanted them to buy. And, in my head, you have to tell people how to do business with you. They can't make up their mind. You have to say, you have a junior, this is the package you need. Because if you leave it up to them, the paradox of choice kicks in and they can't figure out what they're supposed to do. And when I tell people that in my boot camp, it's like you can see the light bulb go off. Because if you give them so many options, they don't know what to do. That's why they're asking you, right? So you just kind of need to analyze in your head, like, what these people need. So to me, you need to do a free seminar or a free webinar like this where people can log on, but it's only taking 1 hour of your day a month or 1 hour every 2 weeks. I charge $125 for my initial consultation and then do an upsell. So like, okay, today's your $125 initial consultation. If you purchase your membership, and I call mine a graduation club. I call the graduation club, and my levels are silver, gold, platinum, and VIP. And I just named them that because people get that, right? People understand that silver is less of a package than platinum, and the VIP is the top. I mean, people just get the language. So I didn't name it like summa cum laude. People don't get all that. So I just named it something simple. And so then you drive people into that sales process, but you can do an upsell. So you can say, okay, if my gold membership is $99 a month, if you purchase at the end of the boot camp today, then I'll give you the gold membership for $79 a month for perpetuity, right? You have to create some urgency for them to get started, because part of what the problem with our business is, people don't ever reap the benefits till senior year.
Right.
So you're trying to sell them something right now to pay for them when they're not reaping the benefits till senior year when the kids are happy. So you have to provide darn good customer service to get through, freshman, sophomore, and junior year, to get people through the entire process. So I do an upsell. So if you do this today, you'll get a reduced price on that, which works really, really well.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So, and I think that especially for consultants who are just starting out, oftentimes doing that kind of free, here's what it is, college counseling is, and here's why I'm the person that can help you with it, and here's what my services are. I think that offers a lot of opportunities for people.
And you know what part of the problem with that, Cindy, is a lot of these people that do what we do are educators, and they feel like they should give everything away for free.
Yep.
And you know, don't give anything away for free. First of all, women don't ever want to charge what they're worth.
Right.
And second of all, you don't want to give things away for free because you have to earn a living for this. I mean, if you're just doing it for a hobby, you know, I tell everybody, look, if you're just doing this for a hobby, get out. Because those of us that are doing this to earn a living, we have to earn a living from it, and you have to get paid for it. And if you keep giving stuff away for free, you're not going to get a whole lot of living out of it.
Right. No, I agree. And that's probably one of the biggest errors that especially new consultants make, is giving too much away for free and spending too much time on that initial consultation of creating content or sharing, you know, things, rather than giving an overview and here's what you need to be thinking about, and here's how I can help you. So,
and you know, another problem that everybody has is they just don't know how to sell. They don't consider their salesmen. And I just hate to tell everybody, if you are self-employed, you are a salesperson. And that's one reason why I created the boot camps, is we do a lot of work with you to help you learn how to sell. And you know, it's not like you're a greasy car salesman that, you know, you're not shysters. We're not that. But you have got to be able to tell people the benefits of your service, or you just need to go work in a guidance counselor's office somewhere where you're going to get paid your salary, right? So that's another thing we do. We do a lot of work and teaching educational consultants how to become salespeople.
So tell us a little bit more about your boot camp. When do you offer them? Where are they at? And we will have this information available as well, but talk a little bit more about that.
Well, we do 2 a year. We usually do one in March and one in September. And I'm in Fort Lauderdale right now at my condo. So sometimes we do them down here. And the reason that we were doing them here was we felt like people could get cheap flights to Fort Lauderdale, because you can't get to Charleston, West Virginia easily. But after a few years of doing this, people just enjoyed it so much more at my office in Charleston. So we've pretty much decided that we're going to stick to Charleston, West Virginia. And it's nice for everybody to get to see my office and how the tutoring center is laid out and meet all my staff, because office admin is another big hot topic that people want, and we address that in the boot camp. So pretty much the boot camp is all about sales, marketing, pricing, advertising, and office administration. We don't do anything like writing essays and college lists. We think everybody's got that covered. We strictly go to, you know, how to run your everyday practice. And, you know, being self-employed, if you don't learn how to delegate and hire, and see, that's a lot of things. People, you know, I have almost 50 employees now between all my businesses, and people don't know how to pay people. They don't know what they should come up with, you know, just things like that. So we address all of the aspects of being an educational consultant, except the actual college planning consulting part. We don't even touch that. We think that's what conferences are good for and all that. So we do them in September and March in Charleston, West Virginia. It's we start on Thursday night with like a cocktail cheese reception. Then we go hard all day on Friday, 8 to 6, Saturday, 8 to 6, and then Sunday, 8 to 1. And trust me, people are exhausted by the time they get through, but it's a boot camp, right? So we do that. Everybody signs a non-disclosure form. So in other words, what we do is we become your board of directors, and people will bring their financial statements and their number one issue that we have. And then the whole weekend as a group is, how do we individually help these people better with their practice? And so my staff comes in, and then, so like if you're really interested in office admin, you can go in with Krista, who's our office manager, and you know, how do you figure that out? If you're really more worried about pricing or, you know, the financial planning part of it, you go in with me. And then now we're so happy you're going to be with us this year. So you can really take the software, because we would have a lot of people that ask about software and how do you do this with the software. So that's why this strategic partnership that we have with IC Advisors and Guided Path is going to be so nice, because now that's just even another benefit for people to come to the boot camp, because then they can figure out how to take your software and run their practice much more effectively.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's not just for people who are new. It sounds like people who have experience, maybe looking to grow or scale their business and cover all those business aspects as well.
Well, I originally designed it for that way. I originally designed it for people who had been in business like 3 years or more, because I felt like a lot of the associations were having like their summer institutes and things that they could do like that. And what I found was just the questions that people asked me when I was out would be, you know, much more business things like me. I'm trying to retire. Like, I'm 60 years old. I'm trying to like scale down. How do I pass this business on? How do I make sure it's my retirement plan? And that's when I added the tutoring and the test prep into my practice. And so, but a lot of people, you know, it just depends. And that's how come I think it's so hard to go to a big conference and you just leave with everything jumbled up in your head because you don't know how to focus. And so, you know, think about what we do. We take this massive amount of college planning and we try to funnel it down to our students. So what I'm trying to do is take all of this business stuff and funnel it down to educational consultants, because I really want every educational consultant to be a successful business person, because truly that's what you are. You are a business person. And if you are not used to being in business, like I've been in business my whole life and am educated in it. But if that's not, that could almost be a hindrance to you to being a fabulous educational consultant, because we owe it to our clients to stay in business.
Right.
We truly do. So we focus, I think we already focus a lot through the associations about like being ethical and doing things. But you know, it's not really a personal approach. That's how come we keep the boot camps to like 10 to 12 people, so that we can really delve deeply into your own personal business. So the boot camps are not about me, and the boot camp's not going to be about you. It's going to be about how do we help our fellow IECs to be much more successful. So, you know, to work smarter, not harder. You know, how can they double or triple their revenue and double or triple their time off? Right. Because what was happening to me was the larger my businesses were getting, the harder I worked and the more exhausted I was. And it was a very valuable lesson that I learned. So now that I'm old and I don't even care anymore, like I feel like my legacy to this profession is how to train younger educational consultants or anybody just coming into the business not to make all the mistakes of business that I did. And you get that.
I do. And that's why we offer the Guided Path Academy, because it's not just about how to use an online tool. It's the principles of business and the counseling. And I agree with you. Probably 90% of the questions that we get are more oriented toward the business than the counseling side. And that those counseling are covered in other areas like you know, the certificate programs or conferences or things like that. So yours is the only one that I know of that's an in-person experience, the boot camp, and I think that that's a great opportunity. So,
well, here's a prime example. People don't even know like payroll. You know, I try to keep payroll at like 25% of my gross, and I try to keep advertising at like 5 to 10% of gross. And so we do a lot of these percentages. We also look at retention. How are you retaining your clients? Retention is a big thing. Like I know my retention rate. I know my close rate, like a lot of people. So maybe you do initial consultations. Well, what if you're only closing 20% of your initial consultations? You know, in my office, we close 90 to 95% of our initial consultations. So you know what? Just working your close rate can greatly increase your revenue. Yep. And so, you know, my goal is to annually increase my revenue by 10 to 15%. keep my expenses down, keep my payroll down, keep my, then, you know, you got your fixed expenses. And this is a lot of stuff that people don't even pay any attention to, but this is how your business will survive.
Mm-hmm. I think that's wise advice. So if somebody wants to learn more about the boot camp, where do they go? What website?
ICadvisors.com. Very simple. Just ICadvisors.com, or you can go to jamiedickinson.com. I think we have a link off of there. But listen, everybody that comes, you know, and I'm not just bragging because it's me, but I mean, you can ask anybody that's been there. It's really practice changing, and that's what we want. And when you leave, your head will be spinning with things that you want to go do. And then, of course, after that, we offer hourly consultation. So it's not like we're going to have you all that and just let you go. So, you know, if you need us private one-on-one, you can hire us to, you know, to help you individually. So, yeah, so it's really good. I mean, I think I'm the only educational consultant probably that, as far as I know, that has a consulting practice to educational consultants. And it's just because I feel passionately about it. Truly, I do.
Well, it shows, Jamie, it shows. So thank you very much for your time. I know you're on vacation, so I appreciate you taking time out to talk to me today.
No problem. I appreciate it. So I hope I see everybody at the boot camp. Make plans for it. You know what? You have got to sharpen the saw. Take a little bit of time to come spend a weekend in wild and wonderful West Virginia and just get down and dirty with your business, because that's what we do.
I'm really looking forward to it too.
I know, we're excited you're coming.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.